The policy focus for today from the government was on mental health, more money for mental health. And they had a heavy hitter from the field to endorse their policy. But he complimented the coalition too when he was asked to join Labor's baseless scare campaign about potential health cuts.
Do you think they're going to cut mental health spending?
No, I don't think they will. I think the Prime Minister has already mentioned that this is, generally speaking, a bipartisan achievement of our country.
Yeah, money's flowing freely as people talk about a youth mental health crisis. I'll come back to that in a moment. But first, Albanese's event was interrupted by a young climate protester.
Public service.
Mr. Albanese, you say you care about young people, and yet since getting elected, your government has approved 33 new coal and gas companies.
And I haven't been
condemning young people like this.
Here we go again, hey? Labor, which of course used to be highly amused by protesters turning up at coalition events, it used to encourage that sort of disruption. Well, now it's getting the same treatment, and it's usually from these climate alarmists. There was another one last week.
3 new coal and gas companies! This is my future on the line! I want a safe place to raise my children!
And my point is this. Is it any wonder you get nutters making wildly emotive claims about climate change and getting so agitated about it when Labor itself fuels their climate alarmism? If Labor says there's a climate emergency every day for years, if they link every natural disaster, the sort we've always had and always will have, if they link those events to some emerging climate catastrophe, well, then some people might actually start to believe this nonsense.
what we know the science tells us, that there would be more extreme weather events, they would be more frequent and they'd be more intense.
They have been warning Australia and Australian governments of the emerging natural disaster crises as a direct result of climate change.
We need to work together to make sure that we address this climate emergency.
Climate change is having an impact on our weather patterns. The world's hottest years have been increasingly from year to year.
Natural disasters are increasingly frequent, more intense, and natural disasters are increasingly less natural.
People battling floods, bushfires, drought, and the long, hard work of rebuilding. These are reminders of the risks that extreme weather and climate change present to our country.
Yeah, so Labor spreads these wild fears. They refuse to be factual and sensible and moderate about this, and they do it all for political reasons, and now they get protesters blowing back. Because if bushfires and floods and cyclones are really worse than ever, they're not, by the way, the science, the facts say they're not. But if Labor and the Greens and the ABC and others keep telling people they are, then young people will understandably get very concerned. They'll be frightened and they'll want more action. I mean, if you told them the planet is in peril and windmills and electric cars can save it, they actually might believe you. And worse than triggering protests and interrupting their election events, this actually triggers real anxiety and trauma. And that brings me back to mental health. Listen to Professor Patrick McGorry on the causes.
Student debt, housing costs, climate change, all of these mega trends are conspiring to make the lives and futures of young people much more challenging and pessimistic.
Climate change. Yeah, the green left alarmism on climate is actually helping to generate mental health issues. No one who knows the facts would be panicked, but if you believed what Labor and the Greens tell you, you'd be depressed, all right? And then there's the housing crisis and the economic issues. Yeah, there's a lot of unnecessary worry being created out there, especially for young people. So mental health is a real issue, but good governance can go a long way to guarding against it. How about that? Providing economic security and reassurance about the future matters in all kinds of ways.